through no effort of his own, land him upon safe and welcoming shores. Contrast him to the artful, who, when last Mr. Dickens graced us with his presence, was seen standing in a London courthouse, having been accused of snatching a silver snuff-box out of the pocket of some individual who no doubt needed it far less than the artful. Indeed, it should be noted that so formidable an individual was Dodger that the circumstances of his being apprehended by the authorities was not even witnessed by the reader of Master Twist's adventures. Instead, they were described in tragic detail by Master Charlie Bates, or as he was frequently referred to with equal tragedy, Master Bates. That is to say, Master Bates recounted it after the fact, and Mr. Dickens dutifully reported it. Faced with a pompous judge, the Artful Dodger disdained to defend himself or his actions, loudly declaring that this was not the shop for justice, and that his lawyer would certainly attend to the scoundrels inconveniencing the Artful directly if he were not currently breakfasting with the Vice President of the House of Commons. It was a performance of sheerest bravado that would have made lesser men leap to their feet and applaud, as opposed to the greater men, who merely scowled and declared that the formidable Artful was to be transported forthwith to the untamed and thoroughly criminal continent of Australia. Imagine, if you will, Oliver Twist in the same predicament. There is little doubt that his defence would have been to fall to his knees, sobbing and lamenting his lot in life, a performance that would unquestionably have united lesser and greater men to shunt the little whiner off the English Isles and into the Atlantic as expeditiously as possible, conceivably without benefit of boat. Indeed, if pictures are worth 1,000 words, and admittedly we have already consumed nearly 900 words, then one need think beyond the classic renderings of the two gentlemen in question. Conjure Oliver Twist in your mind, and you will doubtless envision him looking upward in a pathetic, supplicating manner, holding up his empty bowl of gruel and uttering the immortal words, "Please, sir, I want some more," hardly a defiant, brazen challenge to authority. And while Master Twist's defenders will point to this moment as a transformative one, in which the young hero asks for more because he can stomach no further dismissive treatment, I will simply say this: untrue. He asked for seconds because he drew the short straw, taken as a consequence of a bully in the workhouse demanding that someone bring him a second helping, lest the starved older boy wind up consuming his bunkmate, and the boys took this threat seriously. Not quite an act of daring-do, then, although even we, sceptics of Master Twist's rightful place in the pantheon of heroes, will indeed applaud politely for his subsequent assault on a noxious older lad who spoke disparagingly of Oliver's mother. Then again, these are the lines that even the most whimpering of boys will not see crossed. So there is the classic image of young Oliver in your mind's eye, a failed beggar with an empty bowl. Now set next to it your mental picture of the Artful Dodger, described by Mr. Dickens thusly. He was a snub-nosed, flat-browed, common-faced boy enough, and as dirty a juvenile as one would wish to see, but he had about him all the airs and manners of a man. He was short of his age, with rather bow legs and little sharp, ugly eyes. His hat was stuck on the top of his head so lightly that it threatened to fall off every moment, and should have done so very often, if the wearer had not had a knack of every now and then giving his head a sudden twitch, which brought it back to its old place again. He wore a man's coat, which reached nearly to his heels. He had turned the cuffs back, halfway up his arm, to get his hands out of the sleeves, apparently with the ultimate view of thrusting them into the pockets of his corduroy trousers, for there he kept them. He was, altogether, as roistering and swaggering a young gentleman as ever stood 4 feet 6 or something less in his bluchers. Two questions immediately come to mind. The first, of course, concerns the definitions of roistering and bluchers. The former means blustering, and the latter are half boots, typically of leather, so that puzzle is easily attended to. Of greater curiosity is this: why did the adventures of such a memorably described, thoroughly engaging, and far more captivatingly visualized young man, always pictured with a cocky smile and upraised mocking eyebrow, rather than tears of